Hey everybody, it's Kira with Books to Glam Kira. I am going to give this booktube a chance. I figured I might as well just go for it. So here we are. I decided that I wanted to do a video and recap my adventures for this year's Indie Bookstore Day. For me, I chose to do the Des Moines area Indie Bookstore Day challenge, and so what that consisted of was we were given a passport that we had to take to 8 different stores in the area. And then we had to make a purchase, no minimum dollar amount required, and then they would stamp our passports. And then at the end, we could turn in our passport for a chance to win a $100 gift card. So that was really awesome, and I'm happy to say that not only did I make it to all 8 stores, I did it all in one day, thanks to my brother and sister-in-law. So thanks, guys. So I wanted to show you what I got and where I got it. Here we go. So the first one, I will say the stores ranged from all the way from Ames, Iowa to Ankeny, Iowa to Des Moines area, and then to Indianola, Iowa. So we did a little bit of driving, but it was totally worth it. And it was a great day too. So the first store we went to was in Ames, Iowa. It's one of my favorites. I've been there multiple times. It's called Dog-Eared Books. This store, it's fairly large, so it's got a lot of variety in it, and I just love this space. There's actually a loft in the back of the store, and they have the most adorable book dog named Lovey. Of course, Dog-Eared Books. So if you have an opportunity, go visit Lovey. All right. So the first book that I got was Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I gotta say, this was definitely a FOMO purchase. I have seen this book everywhere, and I didn't really know anything about it. I just knew that everybody was picking it up and loving it. I think the last time I went and checked it out on Goodreads, it had a 4.6 rating and over 100,000 100,000 reviews. So that's pretty good for Goodreads. I also heard the story about how the author had originally written this for his wife during the pandemic and hadn't planned on sharing it with, others. It was just for her. But here we are, loving the book and purchasing it. So I'm excited to get started on this one. The gist of what I've found about this book is there's this girl, she is feeling very safe and secure on her island when she's faced with a situation where she has to venture out beyond that island. So kind of seeing the great big world and the uncertainties that come with it. So check that one out. And I got a few other things there too. I love a good bookstore shirt, and they have quite a variety of different vinyl stickers if you're into that. Next up, I went to Dungeons Gate, and this was my first time going there. It's in Ankeny, Iowa. I was not prepared for the variety of games that they had to offer. I wish that I would have researched some games a little beforehand, because I totally would have gotten a game. Instead, my brother ended up getting a puzzle. But if you're in the market for games and puzzles, that's their main thing. They also have graphic novels. They do have a children's section and, the children's graphic novels too. They also have a dog, but he was super hyper. I couldn't get an opportunity to kind of scratch his back because he was too busy running around. But if you like dogs and you like games, that's the place to check out. The third one that I went to was called Raccoon River Press, and they did a pop-up at a brewery. We did talk to the owner, and she said that they are in the process of getting a brick and mortar. So she should have that set up, I believe she said, in Grimes, Iowa, for next year's Indie Bookstore Day if you want to go check her out. So even though she had a pop-up, she had a variety of books, and I certainly found things to purchase. This being the book that I got, which I was specifically looking for this book during Indie Bookstore weekend. This is a new one by Lois Lowry. I think it came out last month in April. It's called Tree Table Book. And I gotta say, I'm just kind of getting into middle grade. After middle grade March, I was just seeing everybody's posts, and took a chance on a couple books, and now I'm kind of obsessed. So if you have a middle grade book that you'd love to recommend to me, please write it in the comments. I'm building up a list, and I'm excited to go shopping here soon. So this was a great one. I just finished it this week. It's about two individuals named Sophie and Sophie. They share the same name, and I think they have, I want to say she's 12 or 11, and this Sophie, I believe, is 88. But just the friendship that they build, regardless of the age difference, is just fascinating, you know, and the stories and the things that they can teach one another. I also just thought it was beautiful when I got to the part in the book to understand what the title meant. It was just a great moment, and you know, there's different themes in here, but it's a middle grade. So for ages 8 to 12, my daughter, who's 7.5, I told her a little bit about the book, and I think she's going to borrow it. So I think we're going to share this, and she's going to read it, and we can talk about it. So highly recommend that one. Again, Lois Lowry, Tree Table Book. I will comment at the bottom what I bought and the store's names again. Something else that I got at Raccoon River Press, I just loved. It was just a moment, right? And so I got a lot of stickers, but this one I'm especially excited about. So if you don't recognize this little guy, if you do, you're like smiling, right? He is from the book House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, and he's just a special character there. I'm also very excited about his new release, the sequel to that one, Beyond the Sea, that comes out this fall. So check that one out. All right, after that I went to a bookstore called The Little Book. I think it's a newer store as well. It's primarily children's books, but they did have a section in the back of their store that were adult books, and especially new releases. So they've got a good variety for being such a little store. I also don't know if this was just special for that day or if they do this ongoing, but they had homemade Pop-Tarts. So I thought that was a fun little surprise. And if you are into plants, I'm gonna say it's right next door to a plant place, so go check it out. I got my daughter a Captain Underpants book. This was her request for Indie Bookstore Day, so I was happy that I could accomplish her request. Then for the fourth bookstore, 4 out of 8, I went to Beaverdale Books. That's another one I've been to multiple times, really enjoy the space. They are jam-packed. They've got a variety and it's filled. So whatever you're looking for, they've got it. I ended up buying, again, another book that I'm seeing a lot of, The Fellowship of Puzzle Makers by Samuel Burr. Again, it's a new release this year in 2024, and it's about a man that he is trying to find out a little bit about his family and their history, and so through this process there were a set of puzzles that were set up for him to kind of get to that. So again, I know a lot of people are picking this up, so it was kind of a FOMO one as well, so I had to check it out, The Fellowship of Puzzle Makers. And I got another Captain Underpants there, but I can't find it, so I would assume my daughter's enjoying it. And then we grabbed some lunch and then headed over to Indianola, Iowa, where we went to Pageturners Books. They had, and I don't have it here, they had Blind Date with a Book, which I hadn't done and I'd wanted to do for a while. It was really exciting because we actually got it for free with purchase. So I had to check that out. I ended up getting 2 books. From there, I got this one from my daughter called Kitty and the Moonlight Rescue, written by Paula Harrison. I hadn't heard of this one before, but it just looked like her vibe. And the minute I read Meet Kitty, Girl by Day, Cat by Night, Ready for Adventure, that sounded exactly like her. So I picked that one up for her. And then for myself, I got this one. Again, it was a new release this year. Hard to miss the bright yellow cover. It's called The Secret Lives of Booksellers and Librarians, True Stories of the Magic of Reading. I can't be the only one, but I just love books, about libraries, about bookstores. They're just really exciting. And then I think in the synopsis it said something about being hunters, being detectives for finding the right book. And for me, I think it's just, I find joy in when somebody comes up to me or is talking and says, man, I can't remember the name of that book. It's got a red cover. It's about this. I love trying to guess what the book is. So tell me in the comments that I'm not alone and that you love it too. All right. Continuing on, we went to Valley Junction area in Des Moines, Iowa, and we went to Reading in Public. Reading in Public has been open for a couple years. They've got a coffee shop inside the bookstore, which is great. You can just get a drink and get comfortable. And I picked up this beauty, The Cemetery of Untold Stories by Julia Alvarez. It's a smaller book, so quick read, and it's about storytelling. Aside from that, I don't know a lot about it. I know that I think she acquires a cemetery or some land that has a cemetery on it, and she's a writer, and she wants to physically put some of her stories to rest. So actually taking those stories and burying them into the cemetery. So it was intriguing to me, and I had to buy it. So we'll check this out. Then I went to the last bookstore on our stop. I went to Storyhouse Book Pub, and again, that was the last one on our stop. It just felt so good to get it all done, and we did it in one day. We did it all on that Saturday, even though you had the opportunity to do Sunday as well. I got a book that I actually am reading for book club, for Book Friends Book Club, All We Were Promised, and I'm already a third of the way in. I'm really enjoying it. It's about 3 women, all Black women, all in different stages of freedom. One is completely free, one escaped where she had been enslaved with her father, but now her father is kind of enslaving her, even though they have escaped that. So that's just kind of an interesting dynamic there that I want to read more about. And then the third is still enslaved. And so I'm learning how they're going to be able to help one another. So historical fiction, but really fascinating, and a debut author. I love debut authors. They're just really exciting to learn about and to read from and see kind of what their perspective is, hearing an own voice. So I got that. Oh yes, and this is Ashton Lattimore is the author. And then at Storyhouse Book Pub, they ended the night with bingo. And I was so excited because I got a bingo and I got an ARC of a new release this year. A short walk through a wide world. This was actually a selection for Book of the Month. I think it was an add-on. And all I read about this was that it was a cross between Life of Pi meets Addie LaRue, which I'm like, okay, I'm in. I loved Addie LaRue. I liked kind of the classic of Life of Pi, and that it was a little bit interesting story, just not always something you hear about. So I'm excited to read this ARC, and it's by Douglas Westerbeke. So let me know if you've read any of these books. That was everything that I purchased. Again, I got some other things too, accessories and whatnot, but I wanted to take the time to show you all the books that I got and talk about all these wonderful bookstores. If you have an opportunity to go visit Des Moines, Iowa, go check these out. Let me know what you think. Thanks everyone. Thanks for hopping on and watching. If you liked it, give me a little like and a subscribe, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.